I'm
Right.
good at that.
All right. Good morning, everyone. We're live. Not sure Carlos was supposed to join us. Not sure he is, but we do have Dylan here. So good morning, man.
Good morning. How's it going?
Good, good. Yeah. I mean, just quickly catch everyone up. What have you been working on? Where you been? Haven't seen you in a while, man.
Yeah, I've kind of just been really not going to anything. I haven't even been going to local events or anything like that. I've just been sitting at home studying, just working on some programming stuff, and yeah, just planning for the switch.
Hold on, just had some background noise. All right. So yeah, I sent you and Carlos because I know Carlos was doing a lot of social media stuff recently, and I love a
Hmm.
lot of stuff he's putting out. But I think the one thing it was I forgot to save it, but it was a quote or a photo I sent you guys.
I got it.
Um, oh, you have able to share it? No, I mean I have it, but I didn't get a chance to download it to share.
Oh.
Um, but basically, it was something posted on X. It
Hmm.
was embarrassment is the cost of entry. If you aren't willing to look like a foolish beginner, you'll never become a graceful master. And I think that's something, seeing, like I said, Carlos was doing a lot of social media stuff, but you also, being a lot younger than we are, but how do you feel about kind of this journey and um, either looking like you know what you're doing or I guess looking like a fool a little bit?
I think some people get so obsessed with looking good when they do the thing that they don't they just don't do it in general. So, for example, if somebody is analyzing a bunch of real estate deals, but nothing ever looks perfect and they don't want to make a mistake, they just won't go for it. Whereas somebody that's like me or you is willing to take a base hit just to learn. And it's okay if I make a few mistakes or you make a few mistakes because we're going through that process to learn, to grow, to be better on the other side of that. And I feel like that really applies to everything. Like if you're wanting to go work out, if you're wanting to learn a new language, anything like that, you're going to look stupid at first. It's just part of it. Never look like a genius from the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is the one of the hardest things for people to get over. And even not just from the social media side. I mean, that's a whole different animal, but even just the investing side, getting started. And it's so much easier just to head down the path of, putting money in your retirement accounts and working your 9 to 5. But that investing side of it is definitely scary for a lot of people, I think.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of that can fall back to just wanting to look like you're always doing the right thing. Like nobody's going to fault you for putting money into your retirement accounts, working harder at your 9 to 5 job. I would never fault anybody for doing that. But if you do buy a property and you make a mistake, and then other people are going to be like, "I told you not to do that. You wouldn't have made a mistake." But the truth there though is you'll never learn if you don't actually make those mistakes in the first place. Like I completely mispriced the rehabs for my property that I was buying, and then I mispriced the rehab for the second property I was buying. But I just made sure I had enough of a margin of safety in both of those deals to where it didn't blow up on me because I knew that I was not going to be right. That makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Just a little
Jovi
jizz.
Jovi makes a very good point. But that's that's what I also see on social media quite a bit too is, Jovi makes a comment about, me being a firefighter so far from genius, but I totally agree, right? It's definitely um you don't have to be the smartest person to invest in real estate. A lot of it is just taking the leap and learning. But there's a lot of I wouldn't say dumber people, but there is a lot of people that it's just the courage to get started. I think that's the first thing, and being able to
Mhm.
weather the storm. I do think the one thing that I noticed though, especially in our group right now, a lot of people are in that 5 years of suck, and they're always kind of on that fence of, is it time? Should I quit? Did I make the mistake? Like, people are judging me in a sense. And have you hit that point yet?
I I don't want to say that I skipped past that because I didn't. Um, but like I'm in the period where it seems like everything sucks because I have to keep repairing everything to me. But outside looking in, when I talk to people about my portfolio, that I just know that don't own real estate. They're like, oh, that's awesome. Like, because they can actually see that I'm generating cash flow for my properties. It's not like I have like a house that's doing like 100 or $200 a month. Like most of my units are doing like 400, $300 to $400 per unit in cash flow. So I wouldn't say I've got that as much, but I am in this like intermediary period where I can't really do anything right now. So kind of like what you were talking about, where for a solid 4 years you were just like focused on stabilizing everything. I'm trying to get all of my properties credit lines paid off right now because we spent a bunch of money because I mispriced the numbers, and I have just been focusing on paying the credit line off for the past year. Um, so yeah, to long way to say yes, yes, I have ran into that.
Yeah, I think that's what's great about the community is everyone is willing to kind of tell everyone it's going to be okay, and we're facing the same situations. Like Frank's here, I made a mistake or 12, right? And Frank is definitely pushing through a lot of things, and unfortunately for him, it just seems like every week there's something for him, right? And he has a great attitude about it, and he's always working through it. But even, let's see, who's here in the chat. Well, Frank is one of them. Even Lynn's here, but
Mhm.
starting a YouTube channel, right? And just getting out there, putting out content. It's not the easiest thing, and it's also what kind of content you want to put out, right? So you got to find your niche, but you're also worried about, is the camera set up right? How does my audio sound? And a lot of that really doesn't matter in the beginning, right? And I think it's just getting out there, getting practice, getting reps. But even on the social media side, I mean, you do very well on on the lives. You're running the accountability group. But has there been any struggles on that side to put your face out there and get on camera?
No, not so much. I used to not like to get on camera and talk to a bunch of people, but just through repetition and like doing speaking events and stuff like that, I just got over the fact that I didn't like talking in front of people. So now at this point, if we just want to do a live or something like that, and whether there's 10, 20, or 200 people, doesn't bother me either way. Whereas like I used to not even want to get in front of the camera when there was, even 10 people on or 5 people on. It's something I just learned over time, which I feel like nobody likes to get on camera with 200 people watching them at first anyways.
Yeah. Do you think people fear like embarrassment more than, I guess, being broke in a sense?
Yes. Yeah, cuz it's easier to keep doing what you're already doing. It's harder to go do the thing that is going to get you to the other side. So I think a lot of the fear is rooted in I don't want to make a mistake because I don't want to look a certain way in front of other people. Whereas I just don't think that's the right way to think about it because it's your future that is on the line there, no one else's. So who cares what other people think? You should just focus on you and build what's good for you. If you know real estate is that path, then focus on getting into that and doing that.
Let's see. Hyder says, I feel like I'm moving too slow to make mistakes, but thankfully don't have the resources to make a bunch of mistakes. A blessing in disguise. Yeah,
That is a way to look at
that is a
it.
great way to look at it also too, right? Is sometimes not having the resources, it slows you down, and it gives you like, I think I talked about it too, and you brought it up too, like kind of just sitting on the sidelines for 4 years or so and just letting things kind of stabilize itself. But at the same time, yeah, it helps you to maybe see your mistakes too, right? You kind of have a chance to reflect on things and not make those same mistakes again. Jovi says, yes, embarrassment is even worse when your network is not on board. Ah, yeah, that's a great point too.
Yeah.
Is that, I know, wait, I forget, I always forget. Did you get married or you just got engaged, right?
Just engaged right now.
Engaged, right? And is
Mhm.
that something you guys struggle with? Is she on the same page as you right now with
As
things?
far as real estate goes, or
Yeah.
it's always been a thing that I've done and focused on. So I know there's some couples that'll talk in like our group chats and stuff like that about how they're just trying to get the spouse on board, but she just knows that that kind of like real estate comes with me, and it's just part of what I do. So yeah, she's just seen that I've owned the rentals, make money with the rentals, and so on, and just really hasn't thought too much of it. I mean, seeing that I am making money from the rentals. She wants to buy her own, but she does want me to find it, do the renovation, and she just wants to put the money in and then be the sole owner of that property. And I'm like, man, me too. Find somebody that'll do that for me. But I'll try to find her a duplex or something, or ideally like a build so she can like have a brand new product. And it might not cash flow as much as it could if we went and found like a 1970s product and rehabbed it and everything, but she's not going to have as many issues as I would have with the properties that I'm dealing with now.
Nice. Frank says, "I'm good enough for the people I hang out with." Oh, definitely. You know, but I think, like you said, you've made mistakes, I made
Mhm.
mistakes, and a lot of people in the chat, I'm sure they've made a lot of mistakes also. Sometimes it's hard, embarrassed talking about it. And I think the one question that always comes up is, if you could go back, would you do things differently? What would you change? But I kind of look at it as it's almost it's just something necessary that you have to go through, right? I don't know. How do you look at that?
Yeah, I don't think I could have really done anything. Well, that sounds kind of bad to say I couldn't have done anything better, but I wouldn't have changed anything that I did because I learned along every step of the way to how to do real estate and what I should not be doing, what I should not be focusing on, and so on. I also did all of the renovations on my first project. So I made a ton of mistakes because I had never done drywall. I hadn't really painted too much. I've painted a few houses for other people, but that's just like you show up at a friend's house because they're trying to do that themselves, and you just pick up a roller and start going to help them out. But I hadn't like done trim. I hadn't level floors or anything like that. So there's a ton of things that I definitely made mistakes on that property. But in the end, just continuing to focus on that constantly just made me better as somebody that can do that work now. Like I replace our water heaters and stuff like that when those go out. So yeah, just I wouldn't do anything differently. You just kind of have to go through that period of suck to learn to be better, and then on the other side, it's fantastic. But if you never go through that, then you never get the end result.
Yeah, I think like last week, Cody Davis was on a live stream, and he got up to a significant amount of units. He's trying to scale back, clean things up in his portfolio. But even he said, right? I mean, you can go back, but it's like you don't know what you don't know at the time, right? And it's easy to say that, but it's just like you said, it's just a part of the stepping stone, part of the process that we all have to go through, and that's where the community comes in. But I think that's the one thing, right? Is if we were around maybe different people or communities, then it might have been a lot smoother to some extent. But it's kind of a lot of times in the beginning, we're just finding our way, and even finding the right groups to be around is a struggle sometimes, right? So have you been around like maybe groups or individuals that maybe you kind of look back now, it's like, oh, they didn't really align with what my goals were?
Yes, and I think that changes over time too. Thank you, Flavia. um, but yeah, I think that's something that changes over time too. Like I used to talk to a lot of people that either didn't want to be in real estate, or like when I was getting into real estate, not from the agent side, but just on the investor side, they just didn't want to deal with people living in the properties. They didn't want to deal with property issues or everything like that. So they would talk about somebody that they had heard of from somebody else, that somebody ended up going bankrupt in 2007 because they had all these properties and then they went down to zero. And honestly, like it's good to learn from those people, but I don't really care because odds are they did something wrong to cause that issue, or they didn't have proper liquidity or anything like that to prevent themselves from having that situation. I know there's a lot of people that actually lost properties in 2007, 2008, so I'm not saying don't feel bad for anybody, but I don't really care to hear those stories. It's nice to it's nice to know what somebody did wrong, but at the same time, they're usually trying to say it to talk you out of doing real estate as if it's a bad thing. But if you do it the right way, I don't foresee anybody running into those kind of issues. That's generally when somebody's maxing themselves out on leverage, where they can run into those problems. Where, yeah, Chapter 7 might be in the future.
Well, if those that are listening and maybe can't see the chat, what Dylan was saying thank you to Flavio about was Flavio says Dylan is 1 in 1,000 Gen Z. I see a millionaire in Dylan in 5 years. Yeah, so I think that everyone that's in the group kind of knows Dylan does have a good head on his shoulders and he's headed in the right direction. And he, like I said, he runs the with Cody Davis, the Gen Z. I don't know. Like I said, we might have to change the name for that call though, because there is no Gen. There's very few Gen Z that show up to that calls on Saturday. It's a bunch of boomers and some of us Gen
I
X fellows.
I think it's
Um,
only me and Cody that are the
yeah,
Gen Z people. That's
yeah,
it.
yeah. It's too early for the Gen Z people to show up. That's why. But
Yeah.
it is a good call. It's a good group of people, and there is a lot of accountability groups going on. So we just had one this morning, Monday, also Jovi and Mac. So yeah, there's always one for someone. Find the one that fits for you, fits what your goals are. But Frank, I don't know if you're still here, but Dylan did want to make sure he was showing off the shirt. Is
Oh
this his?
yeah.
Yeah, he is wearing the shirt. So I don't know where we're at on that. Also, Frank, I don't know where you're at on hitting your goal for donating a certain amount of money to the blind center. But let's hopefully we can hit that goal for the event coming up in February. Hey, all fired up. Bill is here, so thanks for tuning in. Yeah, let's see. What advice could you give someone that's maybe terrified of looking foolish in front of their peers or even like you said, going talking in front of people for like business events or whatnot.
I think it depends. I would treat those two differently, but not looking foolish in front of your peers. I would say go find people that actually want to do what I mean, actually do what you want to do. I I think that's the easiest shortcut into actually getting where you want to be. And you can even learn from some people's mistakes that have done it before you. Because the people that are actually doing the activity actively aren't going to try to talk you out of it completely. Whereas, like people that don't do real estate may try to do so. Instead, they're going to actually give you their mistakes that they made along the way and try to save you money in that process. They'll also push you when you see properties that you're like, I don't know, should I do this one? And they may underwrite it for you and help you through that process and show you, hey, it's not actually as scary as it looks when you receive your first inspection report and there's 100 different items that the inspector gives you, whereas like two or three of those might actually be serious problems. I know I've seen that one scare more than one person, not just investors, but buyers in general. They're like, oh my gosh, there's so many things wrong with this house. And I'm like, well, they pointed out like 30 things on shingles or the siding that there's like dings and stuff like that. Like, that's actually one issue. Um, or if the roof's not leaking, it's not as much of a problem, but it's something we want to watch, stuff like that.
Lynn does say yes, do it scared. That's kind of her advice. And like I said, Lynn's jumped into the fire. She started her YouTube channel. She's posting on social media. I think, even doing her garage ADU conversion was a big project for her. And she's just doing it. Even investing out of state, right? For a lot of people is a big leap for them. And then you got someone like Frank. He does want to remind everyone he does have some t-shirts left to sell. But like Frank, right? He's in multiple markets, right? So even that for some people, I'm sure he gets it from Dion quite a bit, right? For being in all these different markets. And for him, but he makes it work, right? So it's just sometimes you got like Lynn said, right? You got to do it scared, just do it. Um, it's not going to always be easy, but just make sure that you have the right people around you to help kind of navigate you when you do kind of face some roadblocks. But Hyder does say Monday morning, yes, is his preferred accountability group. 6 a.m. Pacific is a naturally sacrificial time. Yeah. So Hyder's pretty regular there.
I do think you're always going to be a little nervous doing something. Like whenever I've gone under contract on a property even though I knew my numbers and everything like that, I was still nervous during the process, whether that be because the LO that I'm working with is didn't get all the documentation properly up front. So the whole time we're going through like, are we even going to close on this property? Or just like the issues I'm going to have to deal with, or if any of the tenants are going to be a nightmare and so on. But every time we've made it through and we just ended up figuring out the problems and nothing is really ever as bad as we make it out to be.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing, right? Is usually it doesn't turn out as bad as you think it's going to be, right? It's usually your mind kind of wanders and kind of puts different thoughts in your head, but usually it never turns out that way. Jovi, 6 a.m. group with Max, start the week off strong. Yes, very right. And Max is getting better, showing up on time. So that's the one thing. It's the Monday accountability group that we need to hold the host accountable to show up on time. But today he was there on time. Hey, Kenny's here. Good morning, Kenny. And I yeah. Oh, Hyder says I need to get a shirt, Frank, with an autograph from Cynthia. Yes, that's the she is behind the scenes. So she hope I mean I think everyone's gonna get to meet her in Vegas. I met her before. But those of you that year two went to the event, they weren't able to make it. So you'll probably get to meet Cynthia this year, and yeah, she's a riot. I'll leave it at that. Joe V says yes because he calls Max and wakes him up. Yes, that is yeah. So Joe V and Max are the two that run the Monday accountability call. The Thursday one is a new one. So even they took it upon themselves. Steve and Alex, and that one's a little bit different. It's very structured, but they're going to really keep people in check, I think. So they have a buzzer or a horn, and if you start going off on a little tangent or taking up too much time, you're going to get a little buzz or whatnot. But it's just to keep things going and for one individual not to take up too much of the time. Bill's asking how much more does it cost with her autograph, Frank? So you might have some people that want an autograph shirt. So you better see what you're going to sell that for. Let's see. Okay. If embarrassment is the cost of entry, what do you think is the cost of mastery?
Not being worried about getting embarrassed and just doing it repeatedly until you're an expert. I don't know. It's kind of like with public speaking. The guys I used to work with, I didn't really do much public speaking, and they were like, "Hey, there's this event that we're sending you to. There's going to be like maybe 100 people in the audience, and you're going to speak." I was like, "What?" There was like 200 people in the audience, but still, that was less than ideal for me as my first speaking thing. But the way I prepared for that, and maybe this can help some people that actually want to go on lives or speak at events or something like that, is just recording yourself on Zoom, going through the presentation. Now I know a live is a little bit different, but as far as just preparing to do like a public speech or presentation, just recording yourself doing so, and then just watching back the recording to see places that you mess up. If you use a lot of ums and uhs and stuff like that, you want to try to avoid those. Um, and I got one there. But yeah, I just repetition. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, I'm horrible at that. I'm definitely unpolished up here, but I'm having fun. So, but there's
Yeah.
people tuning in on Instagram. So thanks for tuning in. Come join us on YouTube. I see Josh Martin there. He says appraisal day. Wish him luck. So I believe he's doing a refi or yes, refinance on his property. So he has an
Ooh.
appraisal going on. So hopefully Josh tunes in to the YouTube side. But if not, he'll probably give us an update on that. Hey, Casey, haven't seen you in a while. I believe you're traveling, so hopefully that went well. I believe I don't know. I think you sent me something. Are you under contract? I forget. I think you were under contract in something in Texas, maybe. I think you're doing a new build, I believe. But fill us in. Um, yeah, Frank said Cynthia's only going to charge me for her autograph on a shirt. But Frank, the suggestion everyone wants is black shirts. So can we get black ORAT shirts? Can we make that happen? I think that would be a big ticket item.
I think I would want one of those.
See, exactly. There's a lot of people would like black shirts, Frank. So if you can pull that off. Bill says, I have been very picky on where and what looking to buy to the point I made my buy window way small. Okay. Um,
Yeah, it's hard to know when you do that too, because you can say that I only want to buy this type of property in this area, but then you have to look at like how many of those properties are existing in that area and how many trade per year to see if that's even feasible for you to find something in that area. Because, for example, in my town, if I said I only want to buy 12 to 30 unit buildings in my town and that's all I want to buy, well, I'm probably going to be waiting for a very long time because there's only like five of those in town. So I can either reach out to the owners, which I have done, and they don't want to sell, or I can expand my buy box to go to other places. And that's what I've chosen to do. I don't know if you're looking at just growing the area. If you want to be picky on the property, I think you have to expand the area and vice versa. If you're less picky on the numbers on the property, then you can stay in one centralized area.
yeah, to Bill's point about the buy box, though, that is going to be one of my upcoming lives. Maybe I'm not sure when, but Zuber tagged me on this on X because it was a question posted in school. So Zuber thought it was a great question, so I might do a live stream on that. It's going to be about how often do you change your buy box, I believe. I think that was a question that someone put in school. And so Zuber's like, oh, that'd be a great topic for, like a discussion or live. So that's going to be one coming up about maybe how often you kind of change your buy box or adjust your buy box or whatnot. But Casey said yes. Was traveling, and yes, he's in contract in a new build somewhere in Texas, I believe. Yeah, I'm not sure if Josh has jumped on to this side. I don't see him on Instagram anymore, but yeah, Hyder says get a good price out of the appraiser. Jovi says no Crocs, not even black Crocs. Yes. John Litz is not here. I know he's still getting over his retina, detached retina. And he said when it rains, it pours. He had some other stuff going on right now, so he's just say send some thoughts and prayers to him and his family and stuff. But there's other stuff going on right now for him. But he's hanging in tough. So um, let's see what else. Yeah, so Casey, I know Casey's doing a new build in Texas. But for those of you tuning in, if you have missed, not like I said, I'm not sure where Carlos is. This was kind of really for Carlos because I know he was putting on a lot of stuff on social media, and I loved a lot of the new content he was putting out. But I did see something on X, and I want to talk about it with both of them. But it was embarrassment is the cost of entry. If you aren't willing to look like a foolish beginner, you'll never become a graceful master. So that's kind of what our main topic today was focusing on. Hey, I see Steven here from Canada. So I think things are. He had a great time in Pittsburgh, so he went to the Pittsburgh meetup that Jack had. It sounded like a great event. J6, Steven, all those guys had a great time. I think they're the Butler Night Crew, so they have a little crew going on. Hey, Brian's here. What's up, man? Brian's also he's in Virginia area, but he's investing in Pittsburgh also and Virginia. But I'm not sure. I know he was going to put in an offer. I'm not sure if he put something in yet. Um, but
I
cool.
saw I saw BuzzTune put in something that said yes to evolution of the buy box over time. I have a question for you on that because I tend to look at my buy box as a ratio. It's not just a fixed price per property. I look at what are the rents we're receiving versus what is the price. So I guess if you wanted to like think about it just from the traditional real estate sense, like how an appraiser would use that, they'd call that the gross rent multiplier of the property. But I think that's way more important than just saying I only buy duplexes that are 250 that rent for 1250 per side, and it needs to be a two bedroom, one bath, or three bedroom, two bath, or something like that.
Yeah, I think your buy box. Hey, we can't be talking about this now, though. I'm
Oh,
gonna.
yep. Sorry. You got to do another live for this.
No,
We got
no,
to
no.
get up to the next one.
No. I think it's for me. It's very, very like I'm little more fluent, I think, with it, right? It's kind of always. I think some people are very strict on their buy box. Like it's really, um, they have it down to a T. Mine is a little more kind of, like I said, a little more fluent. It's kind of a general criteria. And I think that just makes it easier for me, because I look for more, like, I guess, opportunities in a sense.
Mhm.
Because for me, I'm not at that point where um I'm on, like Dion wants side by side duplexes, or everything split utilities. And yes, that's like the holy grail, right? I mean, absolutely, if you something like, and I'm even considering, like, if things like that come up now, I would be willing to pay a little bit more for it in a sense. But I think it also comes down to where you're at in your journey. So for me, I'm almost at the point, I think, from a portfolio standpoint, I think, like I said, maybe now it's almost going to be like, if it's not a side by side, if it's not completely split utilities, then I might not even consider it. And it might be just at that point where I'm only looking for those type of deals now. But in the beginning, it's just I'm looking for a certain amount of return, and that way down the road I can transition it to the next property, or but it's basically getting the pieces on the chessboard, right? So I can move around. Um,
Makes sense. That's what I did too. Because I bought a conversion, not a traditional triplex, and then I bought the 12plex, and I was like, I don't want to buy a conversion again unless I get to inspect like how well the conversion was done. Because mine is fine because they completely gutted the property and redid it. But I'm more partial to just buying purpose-built multifamily now instead of just houses that somebody has added a door on and put a wall up and said that it's 2 units now.
I see Josh looks like he popped back on Instagram, but come join us on YouTube, man, if you're still there. But let's see, Steven. Oh, Hyder said, oh, hey, Jason's here. Morning, Jason.
Good morning.
Hyder says, I make damn sure not allow my pride to keep me from asking questions and asking for help. Steven says, quick question. How likely are landlords to get sued? Because I do plan on buying in my personal name. I don't have much assets as well. Do you have any thoughts on that, Dylan, or you got to answer that?
I bought my property in my personal name. There's also, like as Hyder mentioned, there's things that you can do to proactively protect yourself if you were to get sued. Um, I know there's umbrella policies that you can get for your properties. I have just gotten the landlord general liability policy plus the overall the policy for the property. I think I have like up to $1 million in liability protection on one of my properties, and I believe the other as well. Uh, yeah, there's ways you can protect yourself while buying in your own name. I think some people are completely against buying in LLCs as well, and vice versa. Like you'll see both sides of that argument.
Yeah, I think the easiest way to put it is you just have to be a good landlord in a sense,
Hmm.
right? You be proactive about maintenance requests, you be proactive about upkeeping the unit. So those are the type of things that will prevent, or limit your chances, I guess, of maybe someone wanting to sue you, right? Whether they're gonna slip and fall on something, or something breaks and you're not replacing it or repairing it in a timely manner. So I would say, like, to Hyder's point too, a lot of it comes down to the lease or the contract in, from the beginning of their move in. That's going to state out a lot of how things are going to be handled, how things, whether appliances are going to be replaced, who's responsible for replacing certain appliances, even like just maintenance calls, right? Is a tenant, can they call for all types of requests, or is it like under a certain dollar value where they might have to be responsible for paying for it? But I think a lot of it, like I said, Stephen, it's really you just being a proactive landlord, and that's also trying to. There's a balance, right? You want your tenants to report things,
Hmm.
but you also don't want them like reporting every little thing, right? It's kind of a,
Hmm.
you have to find that path of communication where your tenants understand what is important, I guess, for them to reach out to you, because you don't want things getting put on the back burner and not being addressed. So that's actually funny you guys bring that up. But my son's mom, who still has her properties in Pittsburgh, like she just got a tenant in one of her places, and then she sent me a video, like there's like water leaking from the ceiling. As the bathroom is an above unit, and so it's leaking downstairs, and it's like leaking hard. And the tenant was like, "Yeah, it's just been like this for like 2 weeks." And so I guess like the tenant didn't want to reach out, right? Because maybe it wasn't as bad in the beginning, but it was leaking.
Uh-huh.
And then it's like now I got to the point where now they reach out, but it's like it's the water's like just flowing now, right? And it's just like, what like, but I guess, right, if you have tenants that are like, I don't want to bother my landlord because is he gonna charge me more and all these type of things, right? So you got to find that balance to where, the tenants do want to reach out to you with issues, right? Hey, Dion's here. Dion must be going live soon, so hopefully he's gonna wait till we wrap this up. uh yeah, so I know Dion usually checks in nowadays and when he's gonna go live. um Can Dylan talk to Mark about out of state investing, commercial investing, pros and cons if Mark ever would? Well, why are you
I don't
asking
know.
Dylan if
I'm not an out-of-state investor. I I am an in-state investor that is going to turn into an out-of-state investor by product of moving to another state. So,
Hyder shared a link. I'm not sure. Is Dion going live? I'm not sure. But yeah,
would you
I
do
don't know.
commercial?
I think I would if I wasn't in if I'm when I'm not in Hawaii. So like
Mhm.
when it probably like I said, I'll probably I mean I'm always gonna have roots here. Like I'm always gonna have some ties here. A lot of it depends. My parents getting old, but I envision myself spending more time in like North Carolina, South Carolina, those areas when I'm retired in a sense. So I can see myself doing commercial even out of state in that sense. In a more closer proximity. But from
Mhm.
here, I don't think it's really something that I want to deal with. And with Dion being here, I'm definitely on that more of that lazy side, and it's not something I really want to get into. Um, but yeah, I mean, I guess that's the easy answer, I guess. Oh, Dion's here for the ear candy. Yeah, Dion probably heard you talking about some people don't recommend putting properties in LLCs. So he probably heard it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
he is
Stephen,
who I
Stephen, yeah. So Stephen, I'm sure you've heard Dion's rant about not for there's certain times LLCs make sense, but for a lot of people, a lot of times it doesn't, and it prevents a lot of people from getting started. But
I do feel like some people get obsessed with LLCs though for some weird reason. It just like always like, oh, everything has to be in an LLC. Like I've talked to people that have wanted to start businesses and they're like, well, I got to like get the LLC and everything created. And I was like, no, you need to go sell something to prove that you even want to create the LLC. Because like, what if you create this pressure washing company LLC? It's named something for pressure washing. You're not doing any contracts or anything like that. So you got to change to something else. I'm usually against them until it's absolutely necessary. In my instance, my first triplex I bought in my personal name. The next one I was going into a partnership, so we had to have the documentation on who owns what and who contributed what, and yeah, just not making it just a simple agreement between me and my partner where we both signed on a commercial property. We also wanted anonymity because people that own these commercial properties get spammed like crazy. So we wanted to make sure that people couldn't get our numbers or names or anything like that.
yeah, so Stephen, the same thing, right? There is times that it can make sense, but I like to Dylan's point, and Dion talks about it quite a bit. I think a lot of people um, just it prevents them from ever getting started. For some reason, that is always one of the first questions that ever comes up, right? Is LLC, should I buy an LLC or my name? And I think it just really makes it difficult for anyone to even get started, and this whole conversation of even getting embarrassed, right? It's just making a mistake and jumping in there. Brian says, yes, I want to invest in a small commercial, but feel like there are more unknowns there. Would love to see a kindergarten level deal analysis. Yeah, I know.
We could do one.
Oh, Carlos says he's here.
Oh, let him
Uh,
in.
no, but he's not here.
He showed up 40 minutes late to a live stream.
Um, hold on. Let me.
Send him that link.
You're here now. Um, I don't see. Well, maybe. Has already been practicing on Zoom. I am. No way. Nobody can copy Val's voice, Andy. That is the best voice around. So, but no, I'm not making an audiobook. I'm not writing. Um, hold on. Let me message Carlos.
Okay.
Um, if you put everything in an, what, damn, it keeps moving. If you put everything in an LLC, bound to embezzle something. I can see that point. Yeah, I can see that. Hold on. Let me message Carlos. Let's see. Is there a question Dylan can talk about real quick? Oh, there he is.
I'm gonna guess no replies from
Oh,
California.
oh, okay. Wait, I'm gonna take that hat off before you come on, man.
Oh my God,
Oh
man.
my
We got you.
man. And you should.
Yeah.
So this is perfect, right? You pop in 40 minutes late. You should be embarrassed. So how do you feel about?
The Niners still won yesterday.
Yeah. Now, how you doing, man? It's all right. Yeah, things come up, so it's all right being late. But I was kind of telling everyone like the kind of topic was really kind of focused on what you're doing right now because you're doing a lot of social media stuff. I love what you're doing. It cracks me up. So if you guys, I'll put his Instagram page here, but go check out Carlos's Instagram page. He's putting out a lot of funny content, good content. But to those tuning in, like I said, it was something that was on X. It was embarrassment is the cost of entry. If you aren't willing to look like a foolish beginner, you'll never become a graceful master. So, Carlos, maybe you can quickly touch on that, and then how's everything going with you?
Well, let's start with everything's going well. Everybody's alive, and everybody's eating. Everybody's at school at time on time. And but I'm here, and you left me pondering after I was watching this post you gave me, and I've always understood in the back of my mind that that was true. In order for you to change your path, to pivot, uh, you gotta be able to be humble. Um, and I don't mean to be, but I'm really faith based. And there's a verse in the Bible in Proverbs that says that God sees the humble close, and the prideful He sees afar. Uh, and when I think of this post, I think about sometimes you gotta humble yourself. You gotta eat your pride, or in the reality, in order for you to scale or even change your, because traditionally I'm just your average guy that came in working 9 to 5, working, doing maintenance. But there was a point in my life I had to kind of pivot, and I had to do things. I had to ask questions. I had to be in rooms where I felt uncomfortable. Even being here on this channel, I still sometimes feel, if not all the time, uncomfortable. But I do it because I know that in order for me to see progress, to see change, to see something different, I got to do these things that will compound with time. Um, is that saying that about doing the same thing and expecting something different is the definition of insanity. And a lot of us, unknowingly or naively or not aware, we do things repeatedly thinking that things will change. And I can say the last 40 years of my life or 35 years of my life would have been that. I mean, obviously the first 20 years is not really, I don't have any control with that. You're under a roof, you're being looked after. But the from 20 on, it's up to us. And I just feel like uh, there is an audience out there that is not aware that in order for them to see something different, you got to be humble. You have to be willing to let go of pride, let go of ignorance, and start doing things differently to see to be obtain what you're looking for in life. And a lot of us are looking for peace. We're looking for financial freedom. We're looking for to thrive in life. And yeah, this is coming out of a 45-year-old, and I'm just trying to, even now I feel like I have to change. I have to grow because I, all around us everything is changing. I tell my kids that are in their late teens and early 20s, I'm telling them, you gotta adapt. You have to adapt. My recently my daughter was looking for a job and she couldn't find one. So I told her, you got to use what you have and be creative. She's in her 20s. She didn't go to college. Uh, Opportunities were there for her to do that, but she decided to stay home and she decided to do follow her passion. And when that didn't work out, I told her, you know what? Do what you know what to do, and she knows how to do social media. She's helped me in my social media as well as my wife's, and we've been blessed with that. But I told her, you want to make money, you got to use what you have to make money. And she's used that. She just landed her first account. She's so excited. She's Today she left to go do her chase a second account. But again, she has to be in the you have to be uncomfortable sometimes to get where you need to be. And I think there's a lot of people out there that don't realize that that is the price to enter. Even us three, there is a saying that I was told many years ago when I was in my mid 20s. Carlos, those that know didn't know when they first started. In Spanish, it sounds a little different. The guy told me, Carlos, el que sabe no sabía. El que sabe no sabía. In other words, those that know did started not knowing. A lot of us here, even though I flip houses for myself and for others, and and I repaired things in there, here and there, I know, I know that I wouldn't be able to do what I do if I wouldn't have asked questions, if I wouldn't have research. And even now, I think with things changing, I have to start asking questions. How do I get to the other side if things have changed, if things are changing? And I hope that those that are listening and those that are aware that you have to adapt. I know there's a saying that old dogs don't learn new tricks, but I realize as an old dog, I have to learn new tricks if I want to get to the other side. And so, um, and then part of it, you have to humble yourself. You gotta eat, you gotta let go of our pride I or that mentality of, well, this is how we always do it. Yeah, because I've been at that fault the last few years, the last but this is the way we do it. Well, that way doesn't work anymore, and you have to change it. And um, I hear that now at 45, and I realize how foolish I can be, and how foolish we sound when we say it. You know, um, we have to be able to be willing to change.
I knew Flavio was gonna jump in and say something when he spoke in Spanish. He said, "I understand that language. Thanks, Carlos." But to your point, Carlos. So Hyder mentions, he says, "Good for your daughter to forego
Yeah.
the debt and indoctrination trap called college, right?" So
Hmm.
yes, that's very good for her to see that. And like I said, I keep going back to even like your social media journey. I mean, seems like you slowed down a little. I haven't seen anything recently, but
Yeah.
even that, putting yourself out there, right? I mean, that had to have been hard, right, to get started.
Yeah. I think one of the things that you hear this a lot sometimes about, sometimes you gotta go silent. You kind of gotta get off, and you start working on yourself. This morning I was up by 5 in the morning doing my morning walk, which by the way I stopped doing that maybe 3 4 months ago, and then I came back again and started doing it in this month of September. And that's another thing that I had something happen to me on Sunday. I was like, oh man, it's not 5 o'clock. I'm late. I'm off my rhythm, and but then there's a voice in my head that said, what stops you from walking at the time you woke up? What stops you from doing what you normally do? No, nobody. It's a mentality. It's a mindset. It's a again. Oh, this is how I should do it in order for me to get it done. And in reality, it's a military thing where you say, you got to adapt. You woke up late, whatever. You know, go still do you need to do it. Crack that book and read it. If you forgot, to do it the night before, do it again. Don't don't stop. And I think I try to do that with my kids. I try to do it with myself. I know that I married a a tough woman, and she tells me, Carlos, you got to change. You got to adapt. Things are changing, and I'm glad that I have my wife beside me, and it is important for you guys, if you're single, to find the right person that will help you. Uh, be honest with you. And even though sometimes that honesty doesn't rub the right way, but it's the reality that you need a partner that tells you, hey, you're slowing down, or you're changing, or things are changing, you need to change. And but all I'm saying right now is guys, uh, if you're wondering what should I do next, I think you should be willing to ask questions, but ask the right questions, and ask the right people, because not everybody's going to be at the same mindset, or the same, you know um, with the same strive, or the same you know desires, or goals. And I appreciate you, Mark, reaching out, and thank you for letting me come in and be embarrassed for 40 minutes coming in late. Oh my god. It's
Well, it makes it worse. You came in with that hat. I should have just. I should
oh
have. I should have seen you in the back studio and not even let you in wearing that hat. But uh,
man, I had some
yeah,
technical difficulties in the morning. I had to run and take the kids. I'm like, man. And I honestly thought it was going to be at 9 o'clock. So I was like, okay, we got time. We got time.
nah, no,
Yeah,
yeah, like I said, man, don't worry, it happens,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
But Dylan, for some reason, Carlos was talking about walking and getting back into that. I do recall maybe months back. I think you had a goal of losing weight, right?
Mhm.
How's that going?
I am below 180 right now.
And what was the goal
Kind of slow
again?
down. Goal is 170.
About 10 pounds. You
Hey,
got
well,
that.
you'll get there
Well,
by the event, by February.
yeah, I just gotta see the issue is the part on the stomach is the most stubborn part. Not only because I eat tons of like last night eating like pumpkin pie and stuff like that because I found one at Sam's Club that was $6 for like a 12-inch pumpkin pie, but also like all these desserts and stuff around, man. Besides that, it's rough.
Hey, I see the Butler Bruiser tuning in. Jacek is here. He went to the Pittsburgh in-person meetup, so he had a great time. He is in Jersey, but he is going to be looking at investing in Pittsburgh. Hey, Dion. Well, Lynn says yes, Mark. You have to find the right person, and Dion said it's me. I found the right person. It's okay to be happy single. Yeah, I agree with that too. Definitely. I think it's better to be happy single than so in a relationship. I guess. I don't know.
I will
Uh,
say also you can have partners that do like tell you the truth when you are not doing something correctly, but you can also just have a really negative partner that completely drains the joy out of wanting to do anything entrepreneurial. Because I've heard plenty of people I've talked to in situations like that too. So you got to have a little balance here. Like they can correct you when you're wrong, but like if they're just like, oh, why would you ever want to buy a rental property? That's not a good idea. Like you don't want to deal with that. You're better off single.
uh, no, San Francisco is not better than the Bears, Joe.
Oh,
Um, Jacek prefers the Pittsburgh Enforcer, not the Butler Bruiser. But no reply. Yes, thanks for tuning in. I haven't seen you here before, but please hit that subscribe button. But yeah, thanks for engaging. But he just says he has some great comments in here. But he does say, I encourage everyone with a little bit of free time to become a sitting board member of your local chamber of commerce. Um, yeah, he also Frank's talking about Costco has great pumpkin pie.
Oh, they do.
I wonder. Oh, I thought he was bringing up Costco because Lynn is here. So Lynn is our anti-Costco individual. Let's see what else we got here. I saw. Oh, Bill, all fired up, says, "Don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds that you plant."
Mhm.
Robert Louis Stevenson. No reply also says, "I've recently came to the realization that the old me put in all of the work and took all of the risk for the person I am now. This is the weirdest part of success for me." Yeah. Um, see, Lynn said, "Don't go to Costco $200 later." Yes. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. What else can we? How's your how's Luke's stuff going, Carlos? For
Oh, my
his
son.
yeah.
Right now he's out of town. He's has an event this week. He does. My daughter and him also have a business called Cielo y Tierra, which is a clothing brand, and they have an event. So he's in LA grabbing materials and stuff like that, and then he should be in town tonight. So, but he's also getting ready for Michael Zuber's event as well. So he has a lot in his plate right now. So, and he
Has
also
ev-
does, yeah, he also
has
does
everyone picked
acquisition.
out their shoes? Has everyone sent their? I think.
No,
Oh,
yeah, that's the interesting part.
so how long does it take for him to, like, once he gets the idea? Like, how long does it take to make that shoe for
Well,
him?
I think depending on the design, because
Mm,
I've asked him the same question, and he goes, if the design's simple, it's fast. If it's not, and I have to do layers, that's where it gets a little bit more tricky. Takes more time. There's a lot of detail, and so depending on the design, it would be it. Depending on the design.
I wonder what Dion's design is going to be for his shoe. But Dion has a question. In the next 90 days, what do you hope to accomplish? So Dylan, you can go first.
So right now, I've just been doing a lot of studying. So probably moving, well, not moving to Chicago, but like locking something down in Chicago to move up there. I've been talking with a friend that lives there now about buying a duplex. So we're looking at doing something like that because the apartments are super expensive. And we found out that we could get 3 bedroom, 2 bath on each side duplex for roughly the same cost as living in an apartment, which is awesome. Um, and that's us living in each side. And yeah, just locking something down there so I know that I'm going to be moving there within the next few months. Like hopefully by the event, I've already, got an apartment up there and everything like that.
Carlos, what about you? In the next 90 days, what do you hope to accomplish?
Well, I'm taking it day by day. I don't want to say but my goal is to be able to dig out where I'm at right now. And so I would say in 90 days, um, hopefully I could have this. I have a property that I want to sell, and I'm just hoping that I can have that sold. And it would be a work that I did in the past, and then hopefully be ready for uh, the next properties to flip. But right now, just trying to get rid of the one I have right now, and that's the goal for 90 days. It has still a lot of work to do, and there's still a lot of things I have to jump in order to pass it to the other side.
Cool. Let's see,
What
90
about you,
days.
Mark?
Let's see. I got two rehabs kind of finishing up. So I have to refinance out of one of them and then pay back the private money lender or hard money lender. And then I think I'm gonna take on one more triplex by the end of the year. And that one has a small rehab too. So that's probably what I'm looking at for the next 90 days to kind of wrap up the year. Just rehab my shoulder, continue to do that, and just really figure out if I'm going to walk away from the firehouse next year. That's kind of the plan. That's what's on my plate. I think what I'm going to actually probably do is even if or when I do finish up this rehab, I might just go back and take leave without pay for a while and just test that out. Um, yeah. So I think that's the
Question
plan.
question for you on that. So, as you look at next year potentially being the year that you walk away from what you've been doing for, I would imagine, a long period of time, what are you like? What's your idea of like what you're going to be doing on a day to day basis? Because the real estate once you've got everything under control, doesn't take a long amount of time.
Then it's gonna be I'm gonna have a set schedule to do lives, and
Mhm.
I'm not gonna. No, it's kind of what I'm doing now since I've been off for these past whatever 5 months. It's easier for me to have a set time to, because when I'm at the firehouse, it's kind of me having to figure out what days I'm on, when I'm getting off, so to schedule things. So for me, it's really just going to be able to kind of have a set time and then schedule people according to that and make it easier to do that. Um, we should set up the three amigos to review. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Um, I think a lot of it's more just me. It's a lot of it is depending on my parents too, though. That's kind of what, and my son's ex-mom, of how much more I gotta keep helping her. But that that's a different subject.
Um,
But yeah, I mean, Mark wants to ease into an audit. Yeah, definitely. I'm over it already. I mean, like I could step away now. Even now, it's even that I gotta. Well, I'm not gonna really make a decision on it. It's more for my brother and my mom. But that kind of a commercial space that we have, someone made an offer on it. I don't even know. My brother didn't send me what the offer was, but I'm not sure what the plans is for that. So we'll see what happens with that. Because my brother, I don't think my brother wants to sell because he doesn't want to pay the taxes. And whenever it's coming up to be vacant next year, and my mom, she's always stressing when it becomes vacant. Like she goes through those phases, right? Like, oh, when it's going to be vacant, she's like, oh, we should just sell. It's so, it's stressful when it's vacant. So we'll see what they decide. But I don't even know what the offer is on it yet. So until I see that, but like I said, I'm not going to get involved in that side of it. It's whatever they decide, and I'll just roll with it and uh, you know pivot according to whatever they decide on. Um, no reply says create a door-to-door sales team that sells DIY pest control bags, subscription service, 1099 your door knockers. No license is needed. To overhead is low and brandable. Huh. Create a door-to-door sales DIY pest control. Interesting.
If I didn't hate door knocking so much, uh, sounds like a good idea. But I don't even like people coming to my door.
Well, so he says hire a recruiter manager. Recruiter, wait, hire a recruiter, a manager, a person for the manager to manage, and a door-to-door sales team. And then you have a turnkey business and you don't do anything.
Yeah,
No, I'm not moving to Southeast Wisconsin, Joe. I'm not going over there.
I think he was talking to me.
Oh, 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 okay. I'm definitely not going there.
Yeah, he said Chicago's too expensive. Well, I'm looking at the north side, so it's not even Chicago. It's like more around like it's a little bit more north of Evanston, so it's like 20 minutes north of there, but it's like 30, 40 minutes outside of Chicago. Not too bad.
I
I
mean,
do know the policies are a little bit different.
I think like for me, and it's the one thing that doing the reverse house hack, or even like what Frank wants to call maybe the boomer hack or whatnot, is me renting out my place and basically just moving back home to help with my aging parents is really that's a huge financial difference for me. I mean, it's probably like a 5-6K swing a month in a sense. Now that,
Wow.
well, basically I don't have that mortgage anymore, and
mhm.
Mhm.
so I'm not paying that, but now the rent is covers that and more, right? So it's a big swing financially. So that is the huge difference, and it's been good though. I mean, it's fun, definitely challenging at times with your parents getting older, but it's been good. It's been beneficial. Um, Jason says the burbs of Chicago is a different animal. uh,
uh,
See, like that victory by San Fran yesterday, Carlos. They pulled it out, man, at the end.
Last minute nail biter.
Yeah. Do you have a team, Dylan?
I don't watch football, or
Smart.
soccer, or
Or
anything to do with like balls in general. Man, I don't even watch golf. I
No
watch
tennis.
fighting though.
Oh,
Yeah, I like UFC. That's fun to watch.
Mm.
did you watch the Canelo fight?
I did not.
Oh, okay.
Did you watch that?
I did. I did. Very
Yeah.
disappointed, but yes, I did watch it. Yeah.
What do you mean disappointed? Well, you thought, I mean,
Canelo, we
on
thought we, yeah, like
yeah.
the whole, yeah, yeah, everybody
That's
in
how
my
old is he
family.
now?
Oh, late, early 40s, late
Yeah,
30s.
I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
he's just, yeah, it's
yeah,
just that time, right? I mean, you only have
yeah,
so much life as a fighter, right, man? It's
yeah.
just, at that point, do you just pay all the rent to the mortgage? Wait, at that point, do you just pay all the rent? Are you talking about me house? Um, yeah, but now the money that was coming out of my paycheck to pay the mortgage is not going that in that direction, right? So the rent covers the mortgage and cash flow is positive. So because I've had that property for a long time, so even though it's a high mortgage on that property in Hawaii, it's able to cash flow positive. But like I said, at the same time, I'm not out of pocket from that mortgage now.
Isn't it pretty crazy to be able to technically leave what you were doing within not 4 years? What is it now? It's like 5.5 years of doing real estate.
Yeah, but I don't want people to. So it's not as if it is 5 years from maybe the investing standpoint, but I
Hmm.
definitely had a leg up because I was, like I said, I mean, I don't advise everyone to just liquidate their retirement account. So it wasn't as if I didn't have like something to start with. So I already kind of started ahead in a sense where I had the resources. So it wasn't like I was
Hmm.
just starting and getting one at a time, and to some extent. So it was more you know, I'm 49 years old, so I've had years of retirement account and that accumulation. So it wasn't if I was starting from ground zero. So the 5 years is definitely kind of an accelerated phase because of where I started at, and and yeah, I liquidated my retirement accounts and whatnot, and had some lumps there, but because of that, that 5 years is probably more like 10 years in a sense to where if someone was just starting from zero in a sense, right? So,
Hmm.
um, but like I said, definitely the reverse house hacking thing is really what definitely makes it a lot easier to do. I mean, from that financial standpoint. Would you just pay all the rent directly to the mortgage? Yes. Yeah. And like I said, but that's also why I'm probably just gonna take a leave without pay for a year, at least, well, whatever they allow me, and
Hmm.
Hmm.
just test that out. Um,
Hey, Mark, I never knew. How did you hurt your shoulder?
on paper, it says I hurt it using the gurney with the ambulance.
Mm,
So I hurt my shoulder, and I'm sure it was years and years of wear and tear.
mm,
And then, yeah, lifting the gurney, uh, something popped, and I tore my rotator.
ouch.
So I just had surgery end of July. Someone else that I know that had the surgery, they didn't come back. They were out for 8 months after the surgery. So I think I did my follow up last month, and then the person was like, "Yeah, probably be at least 5 months." Um, so definitely we'll see how that goes, and then like I said, I'm considering just applying for leave without pay. That way, I still, if something happens and I need to go back, I can go back, but I might just take leave without pay and kind of test things out and see how things go. How did you buy the priest here?
I think they're saying how many did you buy in the past year?
Oh, the past year. Only four right now. I'm waiting for them to send me the contract for this triplex, but I know he was on vacation. He went somewhere this weekend, so yeah, just waiting to get that sent to me. I'm hesitant. No reply says I'm hesitant to buy more homes versus just keep my money. I know that whoever I leave my stuff to will just sell it anyways, so I see it as why make more headache for me. I could be wrong. I'm hesitant to buy.
Yeah, I look at it as you just create more money in the long run. It really depends on what you want to do. Because if you build a really big real estate portfolio and they have to liquidate it, like my thought process is one, they'll have more money. Two, I will give them like a framework for selling the properties and what should be sold, what shouldn't be sold, and so on. And then also just directing them, in some sort of document to the right kind of people. Because I assume that I can't answer these questions anymore because I'm not here. Um, but just having that framework laid out ahead of time for whoever is walking into all of that portfolio to be able to manage it properly.
Hey,
What
Dylan,
a,
how old are you?
27. I have to think about it.
Wow. At 27, Carlos, you beat him out the water. Great thinking that way. Yeah.
Thank
yeah.
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's from being around people that have done this way longer than I have, and I've learned
Yeah.
from them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why Flavio said earlier he sees Dylan being one of those Gen Zs that's a millionaire in the next few years.
Yeah.
That's the
Uh,
goal. Basically have to be for where I'm looking to move. Like all of the houses are like, I know I'm complaining and you live in Hawaii and the houses are $1 million minimum, but like the houses I'm looking at, I'm not used to paying $700,000 for a house.
no, yeah, Hawaii is a great place to visit. I think it's has its moments, but I think definitely there's this it's easy to get caught up in just lounging around, right? Which is
Mhm.
nothing wrong with that, especially in retirement or when. But I don't know. I just like being in the mainland where you can just drive and go places and things. But yeah, definitely the weather is great year round, so that is a plus. I'll definitely spend time here, of course. But like I said, it's a lot. It's up to my parents, um, but I'll definitely probably travel more with my son. Shorter travels. Just let's see. There was a question. Oh, in the first year, late start was saying, yeah. So 14, I guess, when I really started investing. 14 or so, I guess you could say, or not. I wouldn't say 1 year, maybe, but maybe 16 months or so. Um, but yeah, I don't recommend that at all.
That sounds hellish to me, buying
Well,
14 properties in 1 year.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Why Flavio says, why are you the only one finding good deals? And like, he's saying, I'm not the only one. Mikey just got a good deal. Brian, who was here earlier, I don't know if he's still here. Brian has closed on a few good deals. So there's a lot of opportunities in Pittsburgh where we're getting a lot of good deals sent our ways. It's just a matter of some people aren't. It's not in the area that they're looking for. Some people are their buy box is only in a certain zip code right now, and whatever deals are coming across is not in that area. So a good deal could come across, and if it's not fitting someone's buy box and their zip code or whatnot, they haven't pulled the trigger on it. And some people are still trying to make that complete decision if Pittsburgh is the market for them. So someone like Andy, who's kind of he's in Ohio, but there's a few markets he is considering in Ohio, and he's also considering Pittsburgh. You got Steven, who's in Canada, who has some other challenges because he's not a U.S. citizen. He's not in the country, so he has some other hoops to jump through to figure out the lending side of things. So that's Steven's challenges right now. But he's found a lender, so now he's inching a little bit closer to probably getting his first property. Um,
that's awesome.
That is awesome.
Did Harrison buy one? I know he was looking there.
Harrison has put in some offers
Mhm.
that haven't. So he definitely put in some disrespectful offers, I believe, and didn't get them taken. But yeah, he's still looking. I know he's having a little more life events going on right now. I believe he switched jobs. Work has been very busy for him. He does have the newborn, so I think there's other stuff he's trying to handle right now. But he's looking in Pittsburgh, and he's really dialed into his certain zip code. So I think that's something also too, is where um, not a lot of deals from maybe the people we work with is coming his ways, because I don't think that area he's focusing on is really where a lot of our people deal with. But he likes that area because that's where Jack is. So Jack invests in a certain area, and that's an area that so like Jacek, who was here earlier, Jacek, Steven, so they're kind of actually looking towards that Butler. So that's why the Butler night crew, when they were in the Pittsburgh in person meetup, they went out late at night to walk the area and hang out and see what it was like late at night.
That is a good way
Um,
to learn a neighborhood. I will tell you,
yeah,
if you don't want to be there at night, you don't want to buy a property there.
yeah.
So true.
Um, No reply says my last home purchase was in Ocean Springs, Missouri. 3 lot, one home, one did a full rebuild, all under 100K.
That's crazy.
So that's why. So Hyder says full rebuild under 100. Are you the contractor?
Mm.
Yeah. Got to
Yeah.
be out there, GC. Are you doing the work too? Did you just buy the materials?
But let me back to Brian. I don't know if Brian is still here, but we'll wrap things up soon. But Brian wanted to do like a maybe a walkthrough, like a very basic level commercial deal. So maybe I can get Cody Davis to walk us through one in the near future. But Carlos, how has business been for you? How has, with the rates
Well,
kind of coming down? How's the handyman business side and everything?
you know, it's been it's been up and down. I think the month of July, I did see a drop, and August is kind of just flat, and September has come up a little bit. So I don't know if it has to do with the rates or anything. But yeah, I did see June. We were doing good. Things looked up for me, and then July just kind of just took a dip, and then September, August, it just kind of just flat out. In September, and I don't even know if it had to do with the rates, but it looked like it's picked up. I'm hoping that it would pick up more now that it dropped and how everything's working out. And other than that, I think that's just like what I was saying earlier. I think things are changing, and you got to adapt to those changes. And the changes that I'm referring to is just the way the economy is moving, where it's really where it really where focus on where it really matters, and on the deals. Um, it's like you were saying about Harrison. There's life is just in my face right now, and so I got to deal with that first, and then be able to get uh, more attention to the other stuff with buying and flipping. And so I don't know where everybody's at, but I know that for me right now, that's where I'm at right now. Where I'm trying to deal with what I have right here at my plate, and then once I feel like I have some breathing room, I can move forward. And so, other than that, like I said, I'm still breathing.
I'm
Great
in the same
attitude.
position right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, just focusing on other stuff. I stopped my property search in like it had to
Hmm.
be like early August, and I've just been grinding stuff out right now instead of looking
Hmm.
for properties.
Yeah. Just
I'm ready to be on the hunt again. It'd be
yeah.
nice.
Yeah. I think right now, I think that's what everybody's trying to do. Yeah. And well, as for me, I'm just trying to put out fires, and then and then focus again. Um, I, I don't see a lot of movement here, like before, and I think that's where I feel like what's really happening on the underline. Um, we used to have a lot of events here in the Fresno area with investors and real estate agents, and has kind of slowed down. I haven't seen anything or I've heard anything. So, but just continue putting my ear on the ground and making sure that I'm still in the loop. And other than that, just grinding. I think Cody Sanchez says that you just gotta grind. You gotta grind, and there's through the pain and through the difficulty, charge forward. Um, other than that, I think my best advice for anybody out there, whatever you have in your plate right now, get it out, clean it up, and then get ready. Um, I don't know where everybody's at, but right now, if you don't have that your plate full, then keep doing the work. Keep doing the work.
Great advice.
Hmm.
Before we wrap things up, like I said, there is Carlos's Instagram page, YouTube page. Go check it out. Hopefully, he's going to start putting out more content. I miss it.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it for a while.
yeah,
But there's Dylan's YouTube channel. So go subscribe. Everyone, thanks for tuning in. Like I said, I'll try to get Cody Davis on. We'll do maybe a vanilla walkthrough on a commercial space. And yeah, I'll see who else I can get on. And I'll reach out to Dion after this too when he's free. Hopefully, everyone picked up his book also, has finished reading that by now. But yeah, everyone, thanks for tuning in. It's always fun. Carlos, thanks for being able to join us
yeah,
last minute. Next, I'm gonna
yeah,
have to have a you sign off that you won't wear that hat again though on any live stream.
yeah.
But
Go Niners!
oh man, Dylan, thanks for doing this all the time, man. And
Thanks again.
everyone, I will see you tomorrow. I will be here with who am I with tomorrow? Oh, Jeremy Taggart from Pittsburgh and Stan, who's in New Orleans, doing short-term rentals. But yes, check me out tomorrow, same time, and have a great day, everyone.
Have a great
See you
day.
guys.